Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Boxing Unlimited here once again, and today we're going to talk about the fight in the super middleweight division against Charlo and Thomas Lamanna. You know, is we're going to be talking about the tactics and the prediction in this fight. This fight is more like a warm-up fight for Charlo. Charlo, we know, has been a champion, is undefeated still. He had problems outside the ring. That is why we ask the question always: how is he psychologically? His last fight, we saw him beat Benavides, Jose Benavides, and he was good in doing that, but not as good as he was before the layoff. Because we're looking at the rustiness of staying off fights. He's been out for ages, and he fought as he was a two-time champion in light middleweight and middleweight. And then the man, how do we know him? He's fought 30 times. He's lost 4 fights and had one draw. One in his fight. In his fight, we saw his fight with Lara, and he was knocked out in the first round. By a left from the top by Lara, took him out. So we do not know if this is a fight that they made for Charlo, because I believe his fight with Plant will come up very soon after the incident in 2023 when he slapped Charlo at the weigh-in ceremony of the fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. I think there's animosity between them, and it's going to boil down to both of them, settling that in the ring, and we hope it will happen. But we think this fight is particularly too low for him. Somebody who's been knocked out by Lara in round 1. At the time of the knockout by Lara was 38 years, fighting. Well, I don't know what happened to that. I don't know if it's a game plan. He's warming up and he's getting ready for fight plan. But I thought he would have needed a stronger opponent than this person. No disrespect to Lamanna. Lamanna is a very good boxer. He's come short, and various times, we know Charlo, we've known him for ages. He's still undefeated. After fighting in the light middleweight division and the middleweight division, he was a champion in the unified at the time. So I do not know what is his problem psychologically. That is why I asked the question: is he still okay? Is he still ready to fight? Has he lost the interest in fighting? There are so many questions one will ask about the problems he's having. Is he, but these things happen, sometimes it's depression, sometimes, you can come out of it, sometimes you can't. Depending on your willpower. It's all about willpower now, and programming yourself and getting into the things you love well and being happy as well. Having said that, I have to be honest with you. I do not expect Charlo to have problems in this fight, but anything can happen in boxing, we say always. We say styles make fight, and the punch can change the whole complexion of the fight. It does happen. You never know. We've seen it happen against the greatest of them all, Muhammad Ali, when he fought Leon Spence. Leon Spence was just coming out of the Olympics in 1976. By 1978, he was fighting Muhammad Ali and took the title away from him. And then we've seen it happen against John Tate, who the same Bob Arum promoting now, prepared promoting since 1966. He prepared him to take over, when Muhammad Ali retired in 1978, by 1980. And then Weaver came in there. I think Weaver had about 5 losses already in his regime, and took him out. And then knocked John Tate out at the final round, knocked him senseless, so to say the least, And so boxing is somehow, you never know what is going to happen. And we call it the puncher's chance. It does happen, you never know. So for having said that, I have to be honest with you, Charlo has to be very, very careful in this fight, because he's been away for a while. The rustiness, the layoffs, and everything will affect him, physically and mentally as well. So he has to be very careful with the way he fights this guy, because the guy, even though his CV doesn't say much about how tough or how good he is, he's a good boxer. Anything can happen. We saw the other day the fight between Soraus and Mongua. We saw what happened. A fighter who has only about 4 or 5 knockouts in his CV comes out to knock somebody who's been, the former champion. So anything can happen in boxing, so to say. That is why we say always that styles make fight. Having said that, I would say in this fight proper, I believe Charlo to win this fight straight on. But anything can still happen, you never know. And if he fights the way he fights, the way we know him, he's got a good chin. We've seen his fights over the years, but in lower division though, But in this fight proper, we will see what will happen to him. We will see whether he's come out of the kind of problem he had, a similar problem he had, whether the problem is physical or psychological. I do not know, but I feel it's a psychological thing. It's got to do with his emotions and so on. We will see in this fight the way he behaves and see if he's ready to fight Plant. Because his fight with Plant will be a mega fight. There will be money in the fight and everything, because both guys are, are very popular and are contenders, Plant, on the other hand, we see him take out Markobi the other day, and he's a good boxer. He's still there after the loss to Benavides. He's still fighting, and he's looking up now that Benavides is no longer there. He's looking up to another title fight in the super middleweight division. So is Charlo also, because Charlo is in the space. He wants to become a three-time champion in the 3 different weights. Let us see whether this is going to be possible. This fight will tell us more about Charlo and how prepared he is, because of the issues and the problems he's had over the years. Our time is up. We believe Charlo will win this fight by TKO before the 10th round. We believe that, and we'll call on that. That is our prediction, to say the least. Do have a nice day and God bless. We're done here. And do please subscribe to the channel to make the channel grow. Thank you and God bless.